Oh my god, we're so cute! Twinning with the same pre-workout. Twinning! Oh fuck, I need to get a new car, mate. I'm hiding down here in my little Peugeot 108. Do something! You do nothing! Do you want to go out the shot then come in the shot?
Yeah.
Ruined it already. How are we? Training today with Mr. Steal Your Girl, aka the girl I want to couple up with is...
Rosie, TM cycle.
back and bicep session today. We've already done it, but we didn't do an intro. Alright. Just a fan. I did legs with Joe yesterday, so I'm a bit fatigued, but good back and biceps session with Adam. Been a long time coming. Hopefully be doing some stuff together in the future.
Nah, definitely. I'm going to do a video introducing maybe my new coach, Mr. TM. But yeah, it was stop it. We're getting a bit sobby. But it was a really good session, different stimulus, definitely a different stimulus for me. So yeah. Yeah,
cool. I'm going to leave you in the safe hands of Tim Cycles now with a voiceover. Back to you in the studio, Tom.
Honestly, I couldn't get away with anything in Beckenham, even if I fucking wanted to.
So much goss happens in Beckenham. Rascas, aka...
I bet someone tries to get me in trouble now.
Why?
Because they're cunts, a lot of them.
Oh, so you can't use that language there on the vlog.
Sorry.
How are we? Welcome to another voiceover. Long overdue session with Collard. And I am very much enjoying training at Crayford at the moment. I'm a bit of a chameleon when it comes down to training in different gyms. I don't get bored. I think I get bored with the environment, not essentially the training. So I like switching up a little bit. Do a few sessions at Crayford fasted. I'll go to Muscleworks, and then I do want to get in a session back at King's. I haven't been there in a long time. But a very nice pull session today, back and biceps. Crayford, making a few adjustments on some of the movements, just because I do have programmed in like single ISO, but when we're training together, I find that when we do just single arm work for like back, that session can take a lot longer than usual. Plus I'm training fast at the moment, so I'm trying to sort of nail my sessions to be no longer than 90 minutes. But all in all, very, very good. We are at coming up to week number 6 of the current cycle, and it's a lot of my movements are jumping up now, and we'll go into like a push session soon. But as I've stated before in previous vlogs, it's an area for me that dips in strength when on diets and contest preps, and I really want to take advantage and utilise this cycle as much as possible. But I'm in a stage now where like each week I'm able to put on 5 kilo on the bar, aiming for those 5 plates for sort of 6 to 8 reps on the incline hammer at Muscleworks, and then just, as I said, utilising as much as possible the cycle, so that when we do dip back down into a cruise for 6 to 8 weeks and then back in, into PCT, we've got numbers that we can really focus on holding. Because I'm touching weights at the moment for a few exercises that I haven't yet touched before, and we've still got another 4 weeks to go of this cycle. So prioritising those movements. T-bowl has been discontinued, so I only ran T-bowl for about 4 or 5 weeks. Discontinued that, and I was taking that 20 meg 2 or 3 hours before, so that we can sort of utilise that peak concentration during training. And to be honest, it's noticeable. I can notice, especially with those pushing movements, having had that T-bowl 20 meg on board pre, and not having it, I can, and I don't mind it too much, because the T-bowl pumps were getting a bit too much. Like anything in that 10 to 15 repetition range for T-bowl was just like splitting, biceps and triceps, for example. So T-bowl's down, still continuing the MPP, still continuing the testosterone enanthate, and they're the only 2 things that I'm minding at the moment. Obviously the problem with Primo, I didn't want to jab that again and put myself through it. I think it just may be one of those anabolics that doesn't sit very well with me at all. And I put something out on my Instagram, and quite a few people agreed and said, yeah, I'm the same with Primo. So it may be an option to utilise something like Mastodon and see see if see if the same occurrence happens. But apart from that, all good. 4 weeks to go. Continue pushing up. Mid 95 key at the moment, so I'm not aiming for scale weight. We've done that in previous years, and body composition's just dipped off. So we're just taking things nice and slowly, but aiming to be like a solid 97 by the end of this blast with acceptable body composition. Beard update, just getting there. Need to get the haircut and beard trimmed. It's been a while. Life just gets in the way. Life's harder when you're older. It's annoying. I'd like to go back to simpler times where I'd leave sixth form at 2 o'clock and go home and play Call of Duty 4 with the boys. Welcome to today's video. It's regarding cardio on the off season while gaining. Don't do it because cardio means muscle loss. Yeah, so get lifts, Ubers, drive everywhere. Just joking. We'll do this part in segments. So point number 1, to the reason as to why we should all be doing some form of cardiovascular work on our off season and gaining phase, especially for us roid heads, where our lipids and blood pressure may not be as optimal as possible, is from a health perspective. So I will wake up on my rest days, black coffee, similar to my contest prep, black coffee, and do 200 calories, which is usually about 25 to 30 minutes. What type of cardio? I tend to prefer to opt for low intensity work, especially now intensity is being ramped up higher and higher as volume increases over this training block. I find that high intensity interval training for cardio can impair that recovery. So nice low intensity. I tend to stick with LISS anyway on contest prep. And there we go. And thus far, 5 weeks into this off season, gaining phase on top of the anabolics, my blood pressure is still within range, just underneath that 120. So, point number 1 done. The archive things are good on Instagram when they remind you, especially when there's Batty. I've had a very productive morning. I've woken up, had a black coffee, answered a few emails, client check-ins, gone to David Lloyd and did some abs and cardio. Now I'm going to go and get brunch at Poached. I'm one white Range Rover away from being a wag. And the way it's going, I'm going to get, actually no, not a white Range. I'm going to try and get F-Pace. Second reason as to why we would implement cardio, or like an increase in activity at least on an off season, is for appetite. Even on my training days, I'll still wake up and do some form of cardio. I'll just do sort of 3,000 or 4,000 steps around the block, but that will take my appetite from being don't really feel like consuming 150 or 200 grams of carbs to fucking hell, I'm raging, I can't wait to have my 2 hot cross buns, jam, oats, for example. So that's one big factor I think for a lot of people, and when they start their off season, it's fantastic, and they are, they're keeping their palate secreting that saliva, but then as the off season starts to go along, you kind of lose your appetite a little bit. By having that cardio and going through those extended periods of time when you may be fasting, it makes you look forward to your next meal. I'm now looking forward to my poached breakfast. Represent that blood glucose. Well, it didn't really backfire because I'm 90 minutes postprandial and that reading is under 7.8 nanomolar. So in theory, it's a good reading. Blood glucose, the final part to summarise why we should and could and would and should be implementing cardio on our off seasons. There's a big debate about blood glucose. You've got the camp that says, oh, we've got pancreases, you haven't got a condition, you don't need to to check blood glucose. Arnold didn't do it. That's like the typical bodybuilding rhetoric, old school bodybuilding rhetoric. Isn't it? Arnold didn't do it. Dorian didn't do it. Okay, I understand that, but we have the ability, same as HRV. Schwarzenegger didn't wrap a polar HR around his chest. Okay, but now we've got these ways to feedback and look into heart rate variability and blood glucose. Why not utilise them, because they're relatively like cost effective and easy to do. But the second camp is blood glucose checking, regular readings to not only take on board inflammation feedback in the sense that like blood glucose is a really good way to see if fatigue and inflammation is building up. A lot of my clients, when we put them on like a 10 to 12 week program, for example, I'll assess their blood glucose readings, and towards that, like the latter stages of that cycle, even though that their food is in a good place, they're waking up, they've had adequate amounts of sleep, so blood glucose isn't affected, you'll start to see that creep up a little bit. And that's another sign for me to go, right, let's look into deloading. We'll take those 4 to 5 days off, we'll reassess blood glucose, and then they'll be back down into that sort of 4.7 to 5 as they were at the start of the cycle. So again, the reason why we're looking at it from an off-season perspective is to be in a position where we can consume and partition and absorb those carbohydrates as best as possible. Will doing a blood glucose reading and it being a 5.5 and then going for a walk and not eating for half an hour and it dips back down to 4.7 to 5, is that going to have a massive effect on body composition? Probably not. Probably not. But this is, I'm 95.8, this is the heaviest I've been with the best condition I've been, and being meticulous with things like blood glucose and allowing my reading to come back down to put me in range where I can consume and be sensitive to those carbohydrates through insulin has bettered my physique in this particular off season, you know, however many weeks in. And I'm not ramming, I'm not saying that everyone should be doing this, but like I said, it's a pretty cost effective and easy, you know, easy task to do. And you look at James Hollingshead, how successful James Hollingshead's off season's been this year or last year going into this year, and he talked about it on RX Muscle with Dave Palumbo about being anal about blood glucose. I know these guys are using insulin, but the same sort of principle applies in the sense that they are waiting for a period of time where they can be in a far better position to consume those carbohydrates. So I'm in that camp of doing it. I get my clients to do it. I don't force it upon them. It's a choice, but I like to have that feedback there. It's the longest I've talked on camera for a long time, 3 minutes 21. I do apologise. Hope you're sitting comfortably. I'm going to end the video there. And I shall see you very soon for a full day of eating because food's increased. We've got 4 weeks to go of left of this blast, and food is up. So we'll do that tomorrow, and that should be released by the end of the week. I hope you've enjoyed episode 4 or 5 of the Road to 2020. I'll leave it there. Thank you, good night. Much love.